Fighting game characters can be difficult in different ways. In some titles, it might be challenging to master the moveset strictly due to the input for many players. Another variant is making a character so weak that playing them and actually succeeding with them becomes a sign of special mastery. More traditional ways of increasing difficulty include making a character unconventional for the game's common rules, giving them strong advantages but also frustrating downsides, not supporting the learning curve with real results from those fighting tools. Regarding inputs though, DBFZ is alright arguably for everybody. We have no tricky dragon punch-like attacks or something like a quarter circle with placing the stick to the starting point. Oh, it's even difficult to talk about this. For weaknesses and other traditional types of difficulty, Dragon Ball FighterZ has plenty of options. Now, why bother with them? Well, quite simply, some players really love a challenge. Step outside of your comfort zone and you might be greatly rewarded. At least, this experience will teach you something new about the game in general, and you will get better even after possible return to your more conventional characters. Okay, so here are the 7 most difficult characters in Dragon Ball FighterZ for us, and in no particular order. Yeah, okay, let's start with this guy. Yamcha is the very definition of weakness in a fighting game, and easy enough, that's why playing him is super difficult. Imagine, you jump into a match and see your opponent choosing Yamcha. You start to feel a little bit cocky and probably even laugh at the guy. But then, getting destroyed by this character would feel so awful, but awesome for the player on the other side. Now, Yamcha does have some strong sides though. As Apology Man says in a guide on DashFight's channel, the character can open opponents up by himself, while most others need to use an assist or something like Dragon Rush. Also, Yamcha's assists are good, and he pressures effectively with Sparkling On. However, the biggest problem for Yamcha is that the other fighters are just better. His ki blasts are average, as it's a single shooting thing. His 2L is too short, 5M shines only as a frame trap but nowhere else. So the risks are just too high, and the potential reward is just having solid opening options and pressure if you manage to get in. But what about you? Do you like a good challenge in a fighting game? Okay, so let's jump to a totally different type of difficulty. You probably noticed that Blue Gogeta is everywhere on the pro scene. And sure, he's also super popular in casual play, so what's difficult about him? Dragon Ball FighterZ is a tag team game. Your tools here are not limited to one character, and assist to the same attacks and moves. This concept is somewhat different from 1v1 fights, and if a player doesn't have it in their mind, Blue Gogeta becomes an awfully risky character to play. That is to say, he is very dependent on assists, and it's the biggest difficulty with Gogeta Blue, but it helps you master the paradigm of team-based games and then bring the skill to other characters. Offensive tools of Blue Gogeta are not safe. Whiff something and be ready to eat damage. Now, assists totally do cover the neutral riskiness, that's why we most often see this character teamed up with Vegito, Lab Code, and Android 17. On the other hand though, Blue Gogeta is a very reliable point pick. His pressure is amazing, a lot thanks to a jailing 50/50 and anti-air reflecting. The damage is also great, you get significant rewards with him and it's totally worth learning how to overcome the risks. And what about you? Do you play Blue Gogeta? Can you do something when he's solo? You might actually be interested in a pro guide on this character by Kite on DashFight's channel. Some fighting game characters have really tricky techniques in their arsenal, so players have to invest a serious amount of time and effort to understand these features and get the best from using them. The examples here are Jacko in Guilty Gear Strive with her robotic minions, or Beowulf in Skullgirls with his chair on-off and the grab stance mechanic. In Dragon Ball FighterZ, we also have this type of difficulty, and it's implemented in Nappa's moveset. The bad guy can summon Cybermen, and these creatures act separately. The opponent's Ki Blast can't hit them. The assist can affect EX Cybermen. Now, as cool as it sounds, such in-fight help is not easy to master. The hits from minions are both assists to make Nappa's moveset safe, and just additional hits to weave into combos for making them longer and more destructive. Cybermen give you extra tools, which become an additional layer you need to put over more traditional attacks and moves of Nappa. What about the result of this effort? Well, Cybermen on their own are good and are widely considered an advantage of this character, but they do not solve his other problems: awful defense, very weak neutrals, and disadvantages in the air. All in all, Nappa is pretty difficult to learn and uneasy to play. This guy represents yet another different fighting game concept where your character becomes stronger throughout a match. It is pretty difficult to play adult Gohan in the beginning due to his obvious weaknesses, and it's not easy to properly level him up and unleash his potential. Let's take a look at another example of the same difficulty. SS4 Gogeta and his times 100 Big Bang Kamehameha. You need to level up with this character too, taunting the opponent. So, do you have the skill for finding safe movements for this? The reward may be an instant kill, but the downsides are only not having this option. With adult Gohan, the situation is different, that's why we've added him to the list. When you start a match with this character, he's on level 0, so his abilities are very limited, and his general damage is just low. To improve everything, you need to perform the super move potential unleashed. Each level then brings you something new, until level 7, which makes adult Gohan one of the best in the entire game. Now, the difficulty with adult Gohan is a lot about his team position. With low levels, he should be on point due to the assist dependence. Remember the blue Gogeta part? But in order to level up safely and effectively, it's obviously better to play adult Gohan as anchor and level him up through delayed hyper combo. Now, some pro players do use adult Gohan in their teams. Wawa even cosplayed as this guy during the World Championships Awards ceremony. So perhaps mastering this character might actually be rewarding. And a guide from Alucard on our channel should help you with that too. One thing that strongly attracts beginners and casual players to Dragon Ball FighterZ is that you don't need to be very precise in combo execution. On the very basic level, you just need to mash buttons to have auto combo and the simplest Z combo. But even when you grow enough to use proper manual sequences, you don't really have to bother too much about the preciseness of your timing. Now, I say this now because it's true for many characters, but not for Hit. It's actually kind of a deep thing for this character. So in the anime, Hit has a time-controlling ability, and the developers nicely implemented it into the DBFZ fights. But even beyond it, you should be very aware of the proper moments for pressing the next attack. Positioning is also important for Hit. The effectiveness of the assassin is rolling around stances, which is a bit of an unconventional concept for the game. So, are you ready to practice a lot and probably fail a lot before understanding how to be in tune with Hit? We should also add his weak aerial game here, which is not a common thing for an anime fighter. And taking it back to the time freezing mechanic, it requires very technical play from you. So yeah, Hit sounds like a very difficult DBFZ character. Alright, so for your efforts, how will you be rewarded? Low damage is arguably the biggest weakness of Hit, and you'll remain with that even after enough training. But the range, excellent frame data, powerful ground game, and reliable assists make Hit a dangerous opponent. And pro players like Wade certainly know that. Have you ever seen Zane playing at pro events? It's easy to notice how uniquely he controls Zamasu. The character floats around a lot, looking for the best attack opportunities and making it difficult for opponents to come close. And yeah, this does look really great when skilled Zamasu players do floating movements, but it's not the easiest thing to put your mind to. Dragon Ball FighterZ is a fast game. No, it's even better to say that DBFZ is a lightning fast game. You don't really have any time to be patient, you block or you attack. But Zamasu's floating often rewards keeping careful distance, which is not something you usually expect to do here. But it's not quite that simple. The difficulty of Zamasu is not only about patience. Sure, not everyone has it or uses a style. But seriously, his whole toolset is pretty complicated and you need to change your perspective to get the max from the character. Zamasu needs good assists to cover his flights and increase damage, and he needs resources to destroy opponents. Okay, so what are the rewards? Zamasu is kind of a universal tool for your in-fight fantasies. You coin mix-up or combo ideas and then use the character to make them real in DBFZ matches. Actually though, this feature can also be called a difficulty as it requires some creativity from your side. The Turtle Hermit is just weird, and no, I'm not talking about his unhealthy obsessions in the anime. Master Roshi is just a king of unconventional moves. Most fighting games, if not all of them, have clear universal mechanics. You get used to a specific general pattern with one character and then grab someone else and immediately know what to do with them. Sure, of course, yes, you need to learn many character-specific tools and adapt to this individual style, but the common stuff gives you a solid ground to progress. Yeah, it's not like that with Master Roshi. He feels a lot like you're playing a different game entirely. I mean, come on, hasn't he even heard about Super Dash? Is this how he uses his own signature move, Kamehameha? We'll just say that Master Roshi is unique in movement and unique in attacking. His fighting arsenal includes so many different tools that you'll have something for various purposes and situations. The problem is that you have to break your own tendencies in the game and spend quite some time practicing Roshi's unconventional moveset. But seriously, if you make this effort, you get quite a powerful fighter, with good defense, almost unpredictable mix-up, and very dangerous pressure. Another advantage with Master Roshi is that many players don't really know how to deal with such an opponent. Some people even expect to beat the Turtle Hermit easily, but I bet you like to surprise them and celebrate some satisfying victories, huh? So there you have it, our picks for the top 7 most difficult characters in DBFZ. Are you just itching to point out our mistakes and express how much you disagree with everything we said here? Please do it. I don't want peace, I want problems, always. But seriously guys, let us know your opinion. Who's your most difficult character to play in Dragon Ball FighterZ?